Hey fam, welcome back to your favorite series, Millennial Real Life Budget Review. Today is really fantastic because I have somebody living in New Orleans who has a lot of debt. But the one thing that I got my hands on that I've never gotten my hands on in a video before are the credit card statements. Stick around. Okay, so when I was reviewing this application, it really stuck out to me because I saw how much they were making compared to how much debt they had. And I got really curious about where this was coming from. So I emailed this person. They came back to me and said, here are some credit card statements. I'm so excited to show you this because we've got some work to do. Okay, so first, this is a physical therapy assistant making $58,240 in New Orleans. The biggest thing they struggle with financially is credit card fees and accumulating debt. I asked, what are your top 2 to 3 financial goals you want to accomplish? They said, number 1, pay down debt and eliminate credit cards. Number 2, build up savings in my emergency fund. And number 3, live comfortably with current salary. Now, they have $64,427 in debt. They have $0 for an emergency fund. I asked, is there anything else you want to share about your financial situation? And they said, I have a side job that I attend one weekend, so Saturday and Sunday, once a month, and they have benefits with retirement and a 401k. They were out of work for the summer of 2024, unable to pay mortgage bills, contributing to an increase in credit card use. My savings account and retirement fund have been depleted. Interesting. Okay, so now I reached back out to this person. They said, now I've accepted a full-time job. I've been working PRN basically as needed in the healthcare field, doing physical therapy. June through September, sometimes not making 40 hours a week, which is the reason for using the credit card and getting in more debt. I made some big and recurrent purchases on my Discover card since. I celebrated my birthday in August and had a personal trainer over the summer. I typically only use my credit cards for flights and purchases over $250 that I can quickly pay off. So they use the budget template for their current role since they have city hours now, 40 hours a week, along with my part-time job. Got it. My ultimate goal is to be in good standing with my obligations, bills, and catch up before my credit is heavily impacted. How about we go ahead and take a look inside of the budget and see what's going on and take a peek at those credit card statements. By the way, I love New Orleans. New Orleans is like one of my favorite places to visit. I've only been there twice. First time I did Bourbon Street, and the second time I was like, not doing Bourbon Street, but I'm definitely hitting up the food scene. Did a ghost tour that I was just like blown away by. So this is my first budget review. I think that I am reviewing somebody who lives in New Orleans. So this is so fantastic. Let's take a look here. So this is based off of the new gig, the more consistent gig. It looks like they planned on about $3,600 in income. They brought in $4,000, probably due to that side hustle position that they're working on the weekends. Okay, they did say a mortgage payment, so I didn't get into the nitty-gritty about what all that was for them, but anyway, I saw the mortgage payment was about $1,500 out of the $3,600 planned income, was close to 43% of their take-home pay going towards mortgage payment alone. That is way too high. Ideally, I would, on the high end, 35, 36, 37% if you're living in a high cost of living area like LA or New York, even Chicago, Seattle. I think for New Orleans, you could do better than 43. This is one of the areas that's killing your budget right now. Also, another thing that I saw, and these, I'm picking on areas where I feel like you could make changes, big changes if you really wanted to get on top of your financial situation. The car loan. You're paying $515 a month in a car payment. Your interest rate Thank God. Your interest rate is only 2.9%, which is incredible these days because most people are getting car loans and hooked up on payments that have 6, 7, 8% interest. So I was happy to see the interest rate so low, not happy about the $515 payment as it relates to your current take-home pay. And also the car loan, you owe $22,500 on it. In my opinion, I just think that's too much car for your salary amount at this point in the game. So ideally, if you were gonna go the car loan amount, and if you've been following the channel for a while, you know I'm not a fan of car loans, but if you were gonna go that way, I would have liked to see this at like a $15,000 car loan, perhaps an older car, perhaps a car with mileage, but still is safe for you. In fact, a really cheap and easy way for you to like compare and review cars is heading over to Consumer Reports and taking a look at all of their third-party testing that they do. I believe it's $29 or $39 for an annual subscription, but money well spent in terms of finding a car that you can trust, safe, reliable, and get the reviews. On a tangent there, but a side note about how to do the car shopping process. We're gonna get to the credit cards in just a second. I see they have student loans of $34,408. Minimum payments $118. Oops, did we not pay that this month? Or perhaps the payment isn't due just yet. So that could also be part of this and factoring in. Let me take a look at some of your other budgeted items. We've got a cell phone of $106. You've heard me say that. I'm like a broken record. You've heard me say this is you're paying way too much in the cell phone plan. I would much rather see you do something like a Mint Mobile, where an unlimited data plan is $30 a month. That's super easy. I'm assuming you might have a device payment plan on this, and you might have device protection, which you can absolutely take off the device protection so long as you have your emergency fund in place, which is one of the big starting points for you, is getting that geared up. Let's see everything else. $200 for groceries, gas $100, car insurance $182 seems a little high. So I wonder, I know you've probably got comprehensive since you have that car loan. That seems high. I would take a look at my car insurance video and how much you need. I will link to that up here in the cards. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie. And it'll tell you kind of the breakdown of the different types of things that you're gonna see on your policy and how to understand that. Looks like you have an HOA of $100, $83 for homeowners insurance. Good, good. You're hardly spending anything on the fun. $200. I think there's probably more to this, because when I saw those credit card statements, I think there were some shopping things happening. Copay for therapy, trying to put money aside for an emergency fund. So for you, the emergency is based off of your basic living expenses, which is all of your fixed stuff up here. So that comes out to $24.64, and we're gonna multiply that by 2, and then I'm gonna multiply it by 3. So we're looking at about a $5,000 to $7,000 starter emergency fund for you. I'd really love for you to have $5,000 in your emergency fund, because you depleted that. It sounds like, and I'm not sure how much money you had in savings to start with when you were out of work this summer. It sounds like you had savings, you had cash, you went through it, and then you went through it down to a zero balance, and then you started using the credit card as your emergency fund. And so we really need to get you out of the credit card land and back into building up your emergency fund. Also, as it stands, it looks like you're already negative $333 based off of your plan. So something's got to give. You've got to reduce something inside of your plan spending by $333, because this is not working. And I think a lot of it has to do with this guy. I would be taking a hard look at this. And if you're living by yourself, I think a roommate is definitely the way to go with this. If you're not willing to sell your house, we need to get a roommate, because $1,500 on your own is just killing, plus the credit card debt, plus all of the debt you have going on. Now, if you were doing this actual, like if you're bringing in an extra $400 a month, which I think at this point is necessary, then we would have some extra funds to start putting towards that emergency fund. I actually want to skip over to your credit card statements to figure out what was happening. All right, so they gave me their Apple Card statement and their Discover Card statement. So this is Apple as of August. They had a balance of $511. Let's see what they did. So looks like they bought some gas. They are on a payment plan with something they bought from Etsy. Now, I know Etsy is, you know, built by these small shops, online shops. They're normally selling like home goods, home furnishings, decor. So to me, this situation means you bought something shopping wise during the summer. Also, the watermark is a hotel in Baton Rouge. So they did spend some money at a hotel while they were not really making a whole lot of money. So I'm like, oh, we probably shouldn't have done that. And it definitely should not have put it on a credit card, because you were charged $8.86 in interest. Total interest charge was $14.20. You've got a 27.24% interest rate. And here's the balance that's subject to the interest rate as it stands. And then you added to it. Let's take a look at the next month. So the minimum payment was $25. The previous month you had put, I think, $125 in payments. And now it looks like you put just the minimum payment on this, which is fine, because right now we really need to be focusing on that emergency fund and really being proactive with tracking your expenses inside of your budget. So again, that Etsy payment plan came through twice in September. So that was twice in August, twice in, so already $200 is something, you spent $200 on something in Etsy, and then about $10 on the TikTok shop. So again, this is telling me that you're shopping and not really using this card for the necessities. So perhaps you're cash flowing the necessities at this point, and then the shopping bug is kind of getting you and you're adding it to the Apple Card. So now we've got total interest charge $26.80. And then I don't know why this is all funky, but balance subject to interest rate is now going to be over that $500 amount because you've carried it over. Now we're going to take a look at the Discover Card, because this actually has a very high balance. So you've got a balance of $5,032. Okay, so the previous balance was $2,087. Okay, looks like you paid $97. You added $304 in purchases, so you were still using this card even though it had a balance. You did a cash advance of $2,500, $125 fee charged, and then interest charged of $113. Oh my, this is our problem area. Let's see what we did. Okay, so they did tell me they spent money on their birthday. They spent money on a personal trainer. It looks like in August is when we did the cash advance. So kind of using this, to me, this is like, okay, now we're using this as a way to pay our bills and using it as an ATM. So already my body's like, no, I don't like seeing that. The personal trainer, it looks like, okay, $54, $29. Maybe they had a promotion in the beginning, and then they got you for every single time that you come in $110 with that personal trainer. Oh no. Also, they charged you $125 for the cash advance fee. So that's where that fee is coming from. You've got a 28.24% interest rate on this Discover Card. I am not vibing with this at all, because I'm just curious, like, the cash advance, was that used to pay for the basic necessities, or was that used for something else? It sounds like you're kind of doing a little bit of both. You're trying to pay for the basic stuff, and also you're doing some things that I would not do in an emergency situation, because I feel like that's where you're at. You were kind of in this unemployed scenario and still spending money while money wasn't really coming in. So I would have halted that. In fact, I would halt a lot of this stuff until you get that emergency fund built back up. Okay, let's go to the next one here. This is the October statement for the same card. So 50, 51, 59, let me see. Did we make a dent in this? No, it went up. It went up slightly. Your payments was only $34. However, you did keep all of your purchases off, which is amazing. You had a $41 fee charge and $120 in interest. Let's see what happened. A late fee. Oh no. Okay. We had a late, and looks like they redeemed the $3, the 5% cashback bonus of Amazon.com and Target. Is that the only thing for this quarter? I'm not loving this card for you, unless it's cashback on everything. Because this says a cashback bonus, you're earning 5% on Amazon.com and Target, plus maybe the 1% on everything else. Cashback bonus redemption. The late fee looks like you were charged $34. So the late fee was even more than your actual payment. So that's awful. Let me go back to your budget here. So we've got the Discover card, the Apple card. Looks like your minimums now has really jumped up, $282. You are paying minimums on Citi and Home Depot, so that looks good. I mean, just slightly over, right? $30, but whoopsies. On Discover, you only made a $100 payment. We definitely have to figure that out. So something's gonna give. Something, and if you wanna make big changes, here's where I would be focused on. That car loan or the mortgage. We've gotta get these two things down. These are two things we can control, and these are two things that we can make changes on that would drastically change your financial situation. I don't wanna waste my time telling you, like, reduce the fund money spending. That you're barely spending any money on this, but I know you're actually spending money on the fund because you have a personal trainer. There was the Etsy payment plan, there was the TikTok shop, that sort of thing. I'm not going to tell you to reduce your groceries amount because, I mean, honestly, $200 is pretty damn good. So what I am going to tell you is that those are the two priorities to focus on, and making sure you increase your side hustle income. I know you're working 1 weekend a month. Can you do 2 weekends a month? We really need that money in order to build up a robust emergency fund. I don't want you using, in fact, like rule number 1, stop using the credit cards. Rule number 2 is consistently filling in your budget spreadsheet and tracking your payments, what you're spending. Rule number 3 is putting every single dollar amount you can towards the emergency fund. I want you actively working towards your first $1,000 in the emergency fund. Continue to build that up. Make minimum payments on everything while you're building up this emergency fund. I don't want you to get into a situation where you are out of work again and we repeat the cycle, only this time it's worse because you have the debt already in place and it's just going to balloon. I went ahead and put together the debt reduction calculator for you to show you where things stand as is. You've got total minimum payments adding up to $992. You've got, if you did $1,000, right, so an additional $7 towards your payment. This is where things are shaping up. Honestly, it's not too bad. Whenever I'm filling out these debt payoff plans for people, I really aim to get you debt-free in 5 years or less. My goal is like a good, better, best scenario is good as 5 years. Better would be like 3 years. Best is like anything less than 3 years. So a lot of these debts you can absolutely pay off in less than 3 years, minus the student loan, based on the current payment plan in your current situation. But I think if we were able to really move some money, let's say you even did like an extra $500 towards your debt. Once you get to this point, remember the emergency fund is going to be priority for you. We get you basically done in about 4 years, including that car. I really don't want to include that car. I want you to get a cheaper car. But yeah, Everything is done in a year except for the student loans, which would be incredible for you. So in order to be in good standing with your obligations and your bills, you need to be making on-time payments with all of your credit cards, all of your debt, and make sure that you are doing the minimum payment until we get that emergency fund really built up and created. I know you talked about how you were worried how the debt is going to impact your credit. Really, the only thing I would be concerned about credit-wise is if you were to go back and, let's say, trade in your vehicle for something cheaper, which I really would. You want to make sure that your credit score is reflective in a way so that you are in a cheaper payment plan for your car loan. Because I think that's what I would do in your situation, is I would get a cheaper car with a lower car payment. I don't know what that's going to do interest rate wise. I would just go ahead and shop around. See what's available out there. See what you can get for financing that would be comparable, at least interest rate wise, comparable to what you're paying. Because if you can get another 2.9% interest rate, but your monthly payment goes from $515 to like $200 all day. I think that's really, really going to help you out. Also, if you're just unsure of like what next money move to make and you're like, I just need to know the steps, you need to check out my new mini course, Millennial Money Moves, which is going to help you with your financial priorities and your life priorities to help you make the right next financial step for your life. Super easy. I've included a decision-making quiz that's just gonna help walk you through exactly what next step you need to take. You can check out that course by using the link below. If you continue to jam on this series and you are into it, hit that like button and I'll catch you in the next episode.